Chris Bruce. Chris is a democratic strategist and a civil rights advocate. Chris, good to have you with us. So clearly, all eyes now on the courtroom in Minneapolis. What are your thoughts on what the repercussions of the verdict could be as we wait for the decision of the jury?
Well, let's get right into it. No matter what the verdict is, it does not eliminate the years, decades, centuries of harassment of the police department against the Black communities. As was stated before, no matter if he's found guilty or not guilty, which he should be found guilty, it does not erase all of the excessive force, the brutality that's happened against the Black community. So we really do need change. And then going into what has actually happened with George Floyd. Saying his name is one thing, but if we say the names of the over 5,000 Americans who've been killed by the police since 2015, there is a problem that is happening in this country. And until this country actively recognizes that and does something about it, we're going to continuously see this cycle happening again.
Now, I was speaking to a legal expert a little earlier on today, and she was saying it was so great to finally see a prosecuting team put a really, really strong case out there against a white police officer. And she was saying that one of the problems is that when these incidents happened, there's no accountability, and you don't see officers standing trial to this degree. Do you share that view?
Absolutely. In fact, let's go even further back. Most police officers do not even make it to this stage because most police officers are not even charged. They're either under some sort of immunity or a police union immunity contract where they're not even investigated on so many occasions. So if I point out 5,000, there are millions others who have been silenced by the laws in this country. That's injustice at its finest. So to actually make it this far, to actually have a prosecution that goes this far, to have an attorney general, a Black male attorney general, who says we're not going to prosecute this on the county level, we're going to have the state come in and say we're going to make sure that there is a trial and seek justice at its foremost. Because let's look at this all together. Black people get prosecuted in this country every day, disproportionately, and are used by our taxpayer dollars. Finally, we have a time when that is actually being used against a police officer who clearly used excessive force, and it has resulted in the death, the murder of an unarmed Black man.
So we have a Democrat president now, and Joe Biden made this one of his campaign planks that he would improve relations with the Black community, that he would improve the way the Black community was policed. What is he going to have to do? What's it going to take to do that? And are you confident that he is going to follow through?
Oh, he has to. If there's anything that's going to happen within this country, we're at the biggest rift that we've probably ever been since the United States Civil War. And if there's no type of healing, if there's no type of repercussions, if there's no type of justice that's happening, he's going to have more things on his hands than others who are just saying that they're Republicans. You're going to have Democrats. You're going to have everyone who's saying, where is the justice that's happening within the system? So reaching out to the Black community is one thing. Changing the laws is another. The law has never been made for the Black person in the United States. We need to do a complete reevaluation of how we do policing, public safety, and social justice. And President Joe Biden should be leading that charge altogether. So after we looked at the crime bill that happened in the 90s that he put his name on, we need to see a new crime bill in 2021, not in 2022, not in 2023, not in 2024, but in 2021 to get passed in our Congress so we can actually see some real progress in our state system and also in our federal system.
Can I ask you what you think about the state of emergency that's currently in place in Minneapolis? Do you feel that the verdict is going to have repercussions, and very strong repercussions in Minneapolis? What are you expecting to happen?
Well, excuse me, because I'm really trying to take back and not laugh. Because after you saw a group of thousands of people white people storm the United States Capitol, march Confederate flags, battle flags in our United States Capitol, have a complete insurrection. No state of emergency was called, nothing was happening. But for some reason, when Black people get together, there is always a state of emergency that's happening. It goes along with the premise of why we're talking about this right now. Over policing in the United States and people feeling fear of a group of people that is just demanding justice. It's within our First Amendment rights that you have the freedom to assemble together, making sure that the government recognizes your grievances. That's what's happening in Minnesota, and that's what's going to happen across this country. Anything that's happening more is a repercussion from police brutality.
I mean, when you look at all the cases that have happened, everything that's happened from, you know, we had Michael Brown in Ferguson, and Breonna Taylor, all those separate incidents which caused worldwide outrage and questions being asked about what should change and what the police could do. And we're still at this point where we're arguing whether the death of a Black man was justified. I mean, when's it going to change?
That's a great question. We've all asked that question. We thought that after the Civil War, after Black people were granted freedom, that we will actually be free. And that has never happened. And I'm talking about something that happened over 200 years ago, and yet really 400 years ago. And yet we're still fighting for this. So is this going to happen overnight? No. Is it something that can happen incrementally? Yes. And that's all we're asking for. We're asking for progress. We're asking for a step-by-step process which says we can finally now get to a point where we're considered Americans, not just Black Americans, white Americans, Americans who are just under the same system.
Chris, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Good to get your thoughts there.